Everyone, so there is this last commission which was left, NCPCR, that stands for National Commission for Protection of Child Rights. So in class 11 we talked about the various atrocities or the exploitation or labor which is done by the child or done against the child, and they are also entitled to the basic human rights which any other person has, because by virtue of being a human they are also human, right? And they are at an age in which they needs to be protected tenderly, right? Tender need of care and protection. So for that their rights have to be protected. They should be provided with some basic education or right against exploitation. That includes harassment or sexual exploitation, right? For which we done POSCO and those acts in class 11th, if you remember. NCPCR is an Indian statutory body. Now see, Indian because it is at the national level and it is made by Indian legislature. Statutory means which derives its authority from a statute, and statute is any legislature made law. Okay, any act which is passed by the legislature, that can be said to be statute. And since it is like there was a statute under which it was written that the such and such body will be constituted or established, then according to the implementation of that act, if a body is established or an authority or a commission or organization institution is established, then we say that it is a statutory institution, statutory body. I hope you got the meaning of this term. Established by an act of parliament, as I told you, when it is statutory body, that means through the implementation of the act it was necessary to establish such body, and the authority, powers, functions and all such things are also derived from, or that also takes its birth from the same act, because the act which provides for the forming of a body, it will also provide that what is the work, why it has to be established, what all areas it will govern, right? What all facilities or effective implementation it would afford. And the act is the Commission for Protection of Child Rights Act 2005. NCPCR emphasizes the principle of universality, inviolability of child rights, and recognizes the tone of urgency in all child related policies of the country. That means universality means it applies to everybody equally without discrimination on any of the grounds, right? Race, caste, color, sex, kuch bhi. No ground, no discrimination. Inviolability means which you cannot ignore, or it cannot be divided, it cannot be taken away at any cost. It is very important, necessary at all, no matter what circumstances are there, but you have to provide them. It cannot be done away with. And it also recognizes that this is the high time, this is it is urgently needed, and it is required for the, it is the need of the hour that such laws should be implemented in the child related policies in the country. Since children are also said to be the vulnerable sections of the society, so for them also parliament has power to make special laws. For commission protection of all children in 0 to 18 age groups. Okay, so children is who? The minors, and minors are any person below the age of 18 years. So here also the age group is 0 to 18 years. Policies define priority actions for the most vulnerable children. As I told you, so children are also the vulnerable section of the society. That's why for them certain policies or special provisions can be made by the government. This includes focus on regions that are backward or communities on children under certain circumstances and so on. If you remember, we also did Juvenile Justice Act in the last class, class 11th, and in that we saw there were two expressions: child or children in conflict with law, children in need and protection, right? In need of care and protection. So what are these two? These two will come under the category of children under certain circumstances. They may also be the vulnerable section of children, and there may be some communities like tribal communities, or some people who are living in remote villages who don't have access to even the basic facilities, तो उनका vulnerable होने के और ज़्यादा chances होते हैं, या backward economically or socially, right? They are born in a caste that is not considered at par with the society, those SC and STs, or such people, or who are living in a remote area, or who are not so economically or financially well off, so they don't have the access to facilities. Their children are not getting proper education, rather they are selling something or the other on the traffic signals. NCPCR believes that while in addressing only some children, there could be a policy of exclusion of many vulnerable children who may not fall under the defined or targeted categories. So, when you are paying attention to a certain category of individuals, what is left behind is a huge bulk of other people, right? So, the similar thing is written over here. If I find out that these are the four toppers of my class, and I'm only giving the proper care, or I'm only nurturing them, I devote all my time over them, so what will happen to the other vulnerable section? They are left off, right? The reverse of thing is written over here, that you are addressing a particular category of children which is mentioned as per the act, in need of care and protection, or vulnerable, or backward communities, or something or the other. But what you are leaving behind in all that is some other bulk of children. They would be excluded, clearly excluded, because of your creating those categories, and they are not falling under that category. So yes, obviously they would be left out. They will not be coming under the ambit of the works or the functions, or whatever this NCPCR is executing. In its translation into practice, that means whatever is written on paper, implementing that, the task of reaching out to all children gets compromised, and a societal tolerance of violation of child rights continues. Since it is a very huge country, India is a very huge country with crores of population, the most populated country of the world we are talking about. So many children. It is a wondrous task. Wondrous means it is very tiresome or very difficult task to reach all the children who have taken birth in the country, and so there is a tolerance of the rights violation. That means people don't even know that this was a right of theirs and that has been violated by the other person. First of all, there is no awareness, right? If there is no awareness, they will not feel that something is violated, and they will not complain, right? Or they will not fight for their rights. Also, even if the basic facility, like they know that we should be educated, or there are government schools, but they don't like to send off their children to government schools, or the children don't want to study. This is the basic and the most the biggest problem in government schools, that children or the parents themselves don't want their children to study well. They don't send their children to schools. They are reluctant to do so. Teachers are going mad, and they are running from pillar to post, from houses in the villages, that please send your children to school. They are enrolled but they are not coming. All these things. See, no matter what jokes are cracked on the working of government schools of various states or whatsoever, but the ground level situation is that the fault of parents are also there. It's not completely of the teachers, which is profoundly distributed and circulated on the electronic media from time immemorial. Anyways, so there are child rights violation. They have a right to education, but it is getting violated because they are not even concerned about it. So that is the meaning of societal tolerance. They are tolerating, the whole society is taking up. And even if you go in restaurants or dhabas, you may see the children, and looking them, you can guess that their age is below 14 or 18 years of age, right? You can guess that. So even they are so malnourished, and you can see their bony body, right? पतले पतले से होते हैं ना, एकदम स्किनी. सो व्हाट इज दैट? दे आर नॉट गेटिंग प्रॉपर न्यूट्रिशन and they are working. So even if we have the fundamental right under constitution that child labor would be prohibited, but still it is going on and the society is tolerating that. We all are seeing it, we all are tolerating it, we all are taking the services of that child in a dhaba or whatsoever, चाय की जो shops होती हैं, right? This would have an impact on the program for targeted population as well. So when we are tolerating, we are like, हमें लग ही नहीं रहा कि वो कुछ violation है या वो कुछ गलत काम हो रहा है. हम उसको चुपचाप और आसानी से अपनी आंखों के सामने होता हुआ देख रहे हैं, उसको टॉलरेट कर रहे हैं. तो जो भी प्रोग्राम्स गवर्नमेंट इनिशिएट करेगी उसके सक्सेस रेट पर भी तो असर पड़ेगा. लाइक आई सेड दैट इफ पेरेंट्स और चिल्ड्रन themselves don't want to study and they are not ready to come to the school, government schools, then the implementation of education level in those schools, that is also getting affected. The biggest policy of right to education and RTE Act or school chale hum whatsoever, they are also getting affected, and the literacy rate is going down and down. Therefore, it considers that it is only in building a large atmosphere in favor of children protection that children who are targeted become visible and gain confidence to access their entitlements. So, NCPCR considers that it is building a larger atmosphere in protection or in favor of the protection of rights, so that the children for whom this NCPCR was established, who were the targets means who were the aim, कि हमें इन कैटेगरीज ऑफ चिल्ड्रन को एम करना है, इनके लिए हमने ये बनाया है स्पेशल प्रोविजन, और इनके अपलिफ्टमेंट या बेटरमेंट के लिए हमें काम करना है. दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ टारगेटेड चिल्ड्रन. और कैटेगरीज बनाने का भी मतलब यही है, ठीक है. So they will build a larger atmosphere so that the rights are known and they can be visible, and then they gain confidence and also they gain access to those rights. Every right the child enjoys is seen as mutually reinforcing and interdependent. Therefore, the issue of gradation of rights does not arise. Means there are no schemes or grades or categories of rights that we can divide them into, कि ये राइट ऐसा है, पॉजिटिव राइट है, ये मॉरल राइट है, ये चिल्ड्रन का डिवाइन राइट है. ऐसे किसी भी कैटेगरी में हम चिल्ड्रन राइट्स को डिवाइड नहीं कर सकते. वी कैन नॉट डिवाइड द राइट्स इनटू ग्रेड्स और कैटेगरीज, बिकॉज every right is considered to be interdependent upon each other. If one right is enforced, then it will automatically lead to the enforcement of other right. That is the only meaning of interdependent. एक दूसरे पर डिपेंड है, एक को enforce किया तो उससे दूसरा भी enforce हो जा रहा है. That is mutually reinforcing. A child enjoying all her rights at her 18th year is dependent on the access to all her entitlements from the time she is born. So, from the time of taking her birth till the time he or she attains 18 years of age, they will get all those rights, and they will get all those rights only if they have the proper access to it. Right? अगर हम बोल रहे हैं right to education उनका एक right है, सो उनको 0 से 18 तक वो राइट मिलना चाहिए. दे शुड गेट दैट, दे आर एंटाइटल्ड टू इट, बट दैट डिपेंड्स अपॉन कि उनके पास वो फैसिलिटी है या नहीं. प्राइवेट स्कूल की नहीं है, चलो हो गया, ठीक है, फाइनेंशियल स्टेटस उतना नहीं होगा, लेकिन आप गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में भेजो. लेकिन अगर आप ऐसे किसी रिमोट एरिया में रहते हो, हिली एरियाज जहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स एज सच इस्टेब्लिश नहीं किए गए हैं, या अगर करे भी तो वो आपके प्लेस ऑफ रेसिडेंस से बहुत दूर है, दैट यू कांट अफोर्ड टू ट्रैवल सच हिली टेरेन्स एवरी डे, तो फिर क्या होगा? आपको वो एक्सेस नहीं मिल पाएगा. यू हैव अ राइट टू मेडिकल केयर, बट कोई अच्छा हॉस्पिटल वहां पर लोकेटेड नहीं है. सो द एक्सेस टू दोज राइट्स, राइट, is dependent, the access to those rights decides that the entitlements will be properly delivered to those children or not. I hope my point is clear. Policies interventions assume significance at all stages, means whatever policies are being implemented or they are being violated, that is seen in all stages. जैसे मैंने बोला कि फाइनेंशियल स्टेटस नहीं है, प्राइवेट में नहीं जा सकते. सेकंड स्टेज क्या होगा, गवर्नमेंट पे जाओ. गवर्नमेंट भी नहीं है क्योंकि बहुत दूर है, तो अब वो राइट अफेक्ट हो गया एक तरह से. For the Commission, all rights of children are of equal importance, since it is working on the principle of universality. So all of the rights are also mutually reinforcing and interdependent. So all rights and all children are equal. Functions are laid out in the Protection of Child Rights Act. Commission shall perform all or any of the following: examine and review the safeguards provided by or under any law for the time being in force for protection of child rights and recommend measures for their effective implementation. So whatever laws are made, whatever special provisions are made by any legislature or by any government, state or central, it can review it, it can examine it कि हाँ ये है, या फिर review मतलब फिर से देखना कि अगर कोई गलती हुई है या कोई लूप होल है या ऐसा कुछ है कि सपोज कोई पॉलिसी बनाई, कोई लॉ बनाया, उसको और ज़्यादा इफेक्टिव या अच्छा करने के लिए हम उसमें कुछ एडिशंस या मॉडिफिकेशंस कर सकते हैं. तो वैसे एडिशन या मॉडिफिकेशन को रिकमेंड या सजेस्ट करना, that is also the function of this commission. Present to be central government annually and at such intervals, the commission may deem fit reports upon working of those safeguards. Now it can review the safeguards, it has to submit the report annually, हर साल में एक बार, या फिर जो भी regular intervals of time period which is decided by the commission or by the government. It has to send the report that how those safeguards are being implemented, at what stage they are, what are still the loopholes. So जो भी implemental stage है उसके बारे में report करना होगा, because बनाने से तो कोई काम नहीं होगा ना, unless that thing reaches to the people. खाना बना के किचन में ही रख दिया, जिसको खाना था डाइनिंग टेबल तक पहुंचा ही नहीं, जो आए थे खाना खाने वो घर से चले भी गए, तो क्या हुआ, टारगेटेड पीपल तक तो आपकी पॉलिसी नहीं पहुंची ना. So the implementation is very important and that is also at different stages. कितनी implement हुई इतने टाइम पर. Why the reports are to be sent at regular intervals of time? To see कि इतने टाइम पीरियड के लैप्स पे क्या डेवलपमेंट हुआ, कितने लोगों तक पहुंचा, कितना सक्सेस रेट है उस पॉलिसी का, या फिर अगर इम्प्लीमेंटेशन सही से नहीं हो पाया तो रिपोर्ट कैन ऑल्सो सजेस्ट कि क्यों नहीं हो पाया एंड देन व्हाट कुड बी द पॉसिबल मॉडिफिकेशंस टू बी डन. Inquire into violation of child rights and recommend initiation of proceedings in such cases. Now if there is a violation of child right, then the inquiry or investigation can be done, and the commission can recommend that the criminal law or the proceedings should be started off in such matters, in such violation cases. Because these children are the vulnerable sections basically, no, so they cannot themselves are aware of those rights, or they cannot themselves afford to even have square meals a day, तो वो केस क्या लड़ने जाएंगे, उसके लिए पैसा कहाँ से लाएंगे. तो इसलिए कमीशन ऐसा रिकमेंड कर सकता है, एंड देन ऑफ कोर्स द फ्री लीगल एड और समथिंग कैन बी प्रोवाइडेड टू देम. Examine all factors that inhibit enjoyment of rights of children affected by terrorism, communal violence, riots, natural disaster, domestic violence, HIV/AIDS, trafficking, maltreatment, torture, exploitation, pornography, prostitution, and recommend appropriate remedial measures. Remedial means remedy, effective remedies, whatever are there, it can recommend those. So all the factors that can affect the enjoyment of rights by the children who are affected by such natural or man-made disasters or diseases, तो उनके रिलेशन में, उनके रिगार्डिंग जो राइट्स अफेक्टेड हुए हैं बिकॉज ऑफ प्रेवलेंस ऑफ सच कंडीशंस, वट एवर देयर राइट्स आर अफेक्टेड, उसको कैसे वापस ठीक किया जाए सिचुएशन को, एंड हाउ टू प्रोवाइड द रेमेडीज टू देम, राइट. बिकॉज इफ सम एक्सीडेंट हैज़ हैपेंड, देयर इज़ एन इंजरी, तो आप जो एक प्रॉपर हेल्दी स्टेट ऑफ माइंड में थे या हेल्दी फिजिकल अपीयरेंस और हेल्दी फिजिकल आउटलुक था आपका, वो खराब हो गया ना बिकॉज ऑफ दोस इंजरीज. सो टू गेट बैक to that state. You need some medical facilities, you need some access to the entitlements or rights. yes or no? तो उसी तरह से अगर कोई मैन मेड डिजास्टर हुआ, टेररिज्म की वजह से माँ बाप मर गए, तो अब आपको माँ मर गई या बाप मर गया, गॉड फॉरबिड वट एवर, या आपको कुछ इंजरी हो गई, बच्चे को ही कुछ इंजरी हो गई, बच्चे को उठा के लेके गए वो लोग टेररिस्ट ग्रुप्स, एनीथिंग कैन बी देयर. तो वहाँ पर रिस्टोर कैसे होगा? रिस्टोरेशन दैट मीन्स वहाँ पर हम उसको ओरिजिनल सिचुएशन में कैसे लाएंगे? ओरिजिनल सिचुएशन मीन्स to bring the person back to the position in which he or she was before that accident or mishap took place. Okay, so उसके लिए रेमेडीज क्या होंगी, मेजर्स क्या होंगे, और किस राइट के तहत वो क्या क्लेम कर सकते हैं, दैट ऑल दे कैन रिकमेंड. एंड इट कैन ऑल्सो एग्जामिन कि इन डिसीजेज में ये प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है, और फिर ये उसकी सोल्यूशंस हो सकते हैं, बिकॉज वी से एवरी प्रॉब्लम हैज अ सोल्यूशन, यू जस्ट नीड टू फाइंड इट आउट, राइट? सो वो उस सोल्यूशंस को भी रिकमेंड कर सकते हैं. Look into the matters relating to children in need of special care and protection, including children in distress. This all we did in the juvenile justice in class 11th. So I'm not going to explain you much in that. Study treaties and other international instruments and undertake periodical review of existing policies, programs, other activities, and make recommendations for their effective implementation. So the whatever the international conventions are there to which India has given its consent, or it has signed, it has become a party to. Now becoming just a party to any of the international convention is not enough. The country also has to implement it in its own nation, right? तो उसके लिए लॉ बनाए जाते हैं. तो अगर कोई भी चाइल्ड वेलफेयर या फॉर द बेटरमेंट ऑफ चिल्ड्रन इंटरनेशनल कन्वेंशन हुआ है एंड इंडिया हैज बीन अ पार्टी टू इट, तो उसको रीड करना, उसको समझना, और how can that provision of any international convention fit into the landscape and in the atmosphere of Indian culture, Indian children, उससे relate करके कुछ suggestions देना. That can also be the work of this NCPCR. Undertake and promote research. Spread child rights literacy means spreading or creating awareness about the rights of children among various sections of society and safeguards available through publications, media, seminar. You know what all means of communication can be imposed to spread it to the masses. Inspect or cause to be inspected. Inspect means कि वो खुद examination करेगा. Cause to be inspected वो किसी और से करवाएगा. Any juveniles custodial home means the place where the so whosoever the juveniles are kept in a custodial home, no, उनका एक रिहेबिलिटेशन सेंटर या एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बनाते हैं जहाँ पे सारे जुवेनाइल्स को एक साथ रहते हैं एंड दे आर टेकन केयर ऑफ. Or any other place of residence meant for children under the control of central government or any state government or other authority, including institution run by a social organization. So all these places जहाँ पर children को रखा गया है उसको inspect भी कर सकता है. And inspection कैसे होता है? कभी कभी without any notice ऑफिसर्स पहुंच जाते हैं ताकि जो एक्चुअल हाल है वहाँ का वो देखा जाए, राइट? अगर हम बता कर जाएंगे तो जानबूझ के बंदा सब सही रखेगा ना कि अच्छी इमेज बने. तो अगर बिना बताए जाएंगे तो जो एक्चुअल कंडीशन है वो देखने को मिलेगी. तो उस हिसाब से ये इंस्पेक्शन हो सकता है. Where children are detained or lodged for the purpose of treatment, reformation, protection, and take up these authorities for remedial action if found necessary. So if any such shortcoming or they are not kept with the proper hygiene or sanitation facilities, तो basic example है hygiene का, तो that can also be suggested. या अगर ऐसा दिख रहा है कि बहुत से बच्चों के बॉडी पे इंजरी के निशान हैं, ठीक है, और कहीं बेल्ट के हैं या कहीं किसी भी चीज़ का इंजरी का निशान है और वो फ्रेश लग रहा है और वो वहाँ पर बच्चा एडमिटेड है कुछ सालों या महीनों पहले से, बट द इंजरी इज लुकिंग फ्रेश, तो क्या मतलब है कि वहाँ के ऑफिसर्स ने कुछ कांड किया होगा. या सोचो इंस्पेक्शन के टाइम गए और कोई ऑफिसर किसी बच्चे को मारता हुआ ही दिख गया, राइट? सो ऐसे सब सिचुएशन के लिए इंस्पेक्शन इज इम्पॉर्टेंट. एंड इफ देर आर सम सजेशन देना इज द मोस्ट बेसिक एंड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट वर्क ऑफ एनी ऑफ दीज कमीशंस. analyze existing law, policy, practice to assess compliance with Convention on Rights of Child, and undertake inquiries, reports on any aspects of policy affecting children, and comment on proposed new legislation. That means if there is a legislation which has not yet come into force, it is only proposed कि हम ऐसा कुछ बना रहे हैं, like suppose it is still in the shape of a bill. ठीक है, तो ये proposed है कि ये bill will turn into act and be coming into force. It will be a law in near future if it is passed by both the houses of parliament. तो it is proposed legislation. उस पे भी suggestion या recommendation या comment कर सकता है. Present to central government annually such other intervals reports upon working, undertake formal investigation where concern has been expressed either by children themselves or a concerned person on their behalf. So if there is a problem we are facing this problem most of the cases mein, तो it becomes a concern, that it is a matter of concern that should be addressed. तो या तो बच्चों ने खुद बताया कि मेरे साथ बहुत वायलेंस हो रही है कस्टोडियल होम में, सो इट बिकम्स अ कंसर्न. द ऑफिसर्स और द जो भी वार्डन होगा वहाँ का, he will be or she will be held responsible. So that all has to be seen. और सिर्फ एक कस्टोडियल होम में अगर ऐसा कुछ भी हुआ फॉर एग्जाम्पल, देन दी अदर ऑल्सो दे कम इन टू पिक्चर कि वहां पर भी हो सकता है किसी और में भी ऐसा ही कुछ हो रहा हो. सो दैट बिकम्स नॉट इवन a smaller problem, but it turns into a larger picture. Promote respect and serious consideration of views of children in its work and in that of all government departments, organizations dealing with child. So whatever the children are working, that has to be respected. The views of children, that means whatever the working of NCPCR is, what are the views of children in regards to that. क्या वो सही काम कर रहे हैं, या जो laws in place हैं वो सही काम कर रहे हैं. जो custodial home है, that is also under the Juvenile Justice Act or something or the other legislations in force, right? So whatever the implementation is, whatever the working of various such laws or policies is, what are the views or opinions about the concerned targeted children, about the children who have gained some or the other benefit from such policies, right? उनको क्या लगता है कि इसमें और क्या किया जा सकता है, अभी तक उनको उससे क्या benefit हुआ, that all is taken. Produce and disseminate means to distribute information about child rights. Compile, analyze data, promote incorporation of child rights into school curriculum, training of teachers or personnel dealing with children. So anybody who is dealing with children of tender age especially, it is important that you speak with polite language, because that is only what they take up in themselves. They inculcate those moral values or etiquettes within themselves, and वो वैसे ही इंसान बनेंगे in future, right? So for that training is important. Now powers. Deprivation, inquire into complaints and take suo motu means on its own. Nobody has complained about a certain matter to the commission, but it found out, जैसे मैंने बोला inspection करने गया वहाँ पर उसको कोई मारता हुआ दिख गया. So now nobody has complained, the child or the officer, other people, nobody. But क्योंकि उसने वो देख लिया और उसके या तो फिर उसको पता चल गया कहीं से कि ऐसा ऐसा इस place में हो रहा है against these children, तो it can suo motu without the complaint of the victim. It can on its own file a case and it can start the inquiry. Deprivation and violation of child rights. So that is the basic matter कि child rights जो हम provide कर रहे हैं, अगर उसका violation होगा तो उसके बारे में inquiry तो कर ही सकते हैं. Non-implementation of laws. So whatever laws are made, they are not being implemented. Non-compliance, whatever policies or guidelines, instructions are there, they are not being complied with. Such other functions as it may consider necessary for promotion of child rights and any other matter incidental. The commission shall not inquire into any matter which is pending before a state commission or any other commission duly constituted under any law for the time being in force. That means if a matter is already pending before any commission of the state, any of the states, or any other commission जो कि in itself is another statutory or government body or authority for the time being in force, वहाँ पर पेंडिंग है, तो आप वहाँ से अच्छा मेरा मन कर रहा है ना कि मैं इस केस को इस स्टेट कमीशन से उठा लूँ, ये केस मुझे बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहा है, आई वॉन्ट टू हैव दिस इन माई ओन एरेना और मैं इस पे डिसीजन दूंगा, मेरा नाम एकदम मशहूर हो जाएगा एंड आई विल बी अ गुड जज और समथिंग लाइक दैट। ऐसा आप नहीं कर सकते। जो ऑलरेडी मैटर पेंडिंग है वो वहीं पर चलेगा। यू कैन नॉट बाय योर विम्स एंड फैंसीज, टेक आउट दैट एंड यू कैन डील विद इट, ठीक है। बाकी दैट मीन्स यू कैन स्टार्ट ऑफ फ्रेश। आपको कोई मैटर नोटिस में आया या आपको कंप्लेन आई तो इन दैट यू कैन इंक्वायर, यू कैन सी द नॉन कंप्लायंस और वायलेशन ऑफ चाइल्ड राइट्स और एनी ऑफ द पॉलिसी डिसीजंस। फाइन। कंप्लेंट मैकेनिज्म्स। The commission is required to take suo motu cognizance of serious cases of violation. That means if, जैसे मैं custodial home का ही example दिया, it is what a serious violation, and what they saw was in a single custodial home, but the similar could have taken place in other places also, right? So that becomes a bigger picture, as I told you. So this is a serious violation of child rights, या sexual exploitation हो रहा है of children in that custodial home or juvenile center. So that is also a serious violation of child rights. ऐसे cases में वो खुद not waiting for anybody to file complaint on that matter कि आप victim हो, आप complaint file करो तभी मैं आगे proceed करूँगा. No, there is no need to wait for the filing of complaint by the victim or their relative or whatsoever. You can yourself start the case. That is suo motu cognizance. And you here means the NCPCR. Complaints may be made to commission in any language, since there are 22 official languages in the country. So any of the language, and those are mentioned in the 8th schedule. No fee, कोई भी fee नहीं होगी when you are filing that complaint, because we are dealing with children, right? Minor, 0 to 18. So basically we assume that they are not in the bodily or according to age also, they are not in the mental capacity or bodily physicality to work and earn. हम उन पर ये assumption ले ही नहीं रहे कि वो earn कर रहे होंगे और वहाँ से पैसा देंगे, because children are the primary victims. We are talking about the welfare of children. We are working in the best interest or upliftment of children. So no fee. Complaint shall disclose a complete picture of matter leading, right? So whatever is the matter, आपने क्यों case file करी, why what led you to file the complaint, ऐसा क्या हुआ. So आपको पूरा मैटर अच्छे से उसमें बताना है, the whole picture. The commission may seek further information as it considers necessary. क्योंकि जब इंक्वायरी होनी होती है तो और ज़्यादा एविडेंसेस या डॉक्यूमेंट्स या विटनेसेस की ज़रूरत होती है. हम बस उस कंप्लेंट के बेसिस पर वो किसी को अक्यूज मानकर उसको स्ट्रेट अवे पनिश नहीं कर सकते. Hearing both the sides is also necessary. So if any other information or affidavit, document, evidence which is required to further investigate into the matter and decide who is the accused and punish or prosecute him or her accordingly. So for that, if they need any other further information, that can also be asked by the commission. While making a complaint, please ensure that the complaint is clear. Legible means it can be read. So whatever you have written, so आपकी writing रीडेबल होनी चाहिए, समझ में आए बंदे को. ऐसा लिख दिया डॉक्टर की राइटिंग की तरह कि जिसके पास कंप्लेंट गई वो पढ़ नहीं पाया तो उसे पता ही नहीं चला कि प्रॉब्लम क्या हुई है, तो वो कैसे उस प्रॉब्लम का सोल्यूशन दे पाएगा आपको, राइट. नॉट वेग मीन्स इट शुड नॉट बी कंफ्यूजिंग. आई लिव्ड इन दिल्ली, सो व्हाट इज द मीनिंग. आई अराइव्ड इन दिल्ली, कितने टाइम के लिए रहे आप, right? Or she had to be present today in a particular meeting, but she was present. Now what to infer from just she was present? The whole day she was present? Yes, she was for a few hours or what, right? So it is vague. Vague means or confusing means when from a particular sentence or expression two or more meanings can be inferred. कोई एक single meaning deliver नहीं कर रहा वो, when a particular sentence is only delivering a single meaning, कुछ और उसमें से infer हो ही नहीं सकता, तो हम कहते हैं कि वो vague नहीं है, ठीक. Anonymous, pseudonymous. Anonymous means with no name, नाम नहीं होगा, क्रेडेंशियल्स नहीं होंगे, तो हमें कैसे पता चलेगा किस बंदे ने कंप्लेंट फाइल करी है, किसके साथ ये वायलेशन हुआ और हम किसको एड्रेस करते हुए सोल्यूशन देंगे. अगेन टारगेट करने में या जो एम्ड पर्सन है, जो विक्टिम है, उस तक सोल्यूशन देने में भी इफेक्टिव नहीं होगा. सूडोनॉमस, सूडो मीन्स फॉल्स, सो फॉल्स नेम लिख दिया अपनी, क्योंकि डर रहता है ना. इट इज़ अ टैबू विच इज़ ऑल्सो एसोसिएटेड कि मेरे साथ ये हो गया, सोसाइटी विल लुक डाउन अपॉन यू. Also देर इज़ ऑल्सो फियर कि हाई मैं फंस जाऊंगा, एक अथॉरिटी मेरे साथ ये एट्रोसिटी कर रही थी और मैंने अथॉरिटी के खिलाफ कंप्लेन कर दी, तो ये मेरे साथ और एट्रोसिटी करेगी, क्योंकि रहना तो मुझे यहीं पर है, राइट। सो ये सारे फियर भी होते हैं। एंड ऑल्सो दे आर चिल्ड्रन, उनके पास वैसे भी कुछ मेंटल ट्रॉमा होगा, दैट दे आर नॉट एबल टू लिव विद देयर पेरेंट्स और दे आर लिविंग इन अ कस्टोडियल होम, राइट। सो इतना सब कुछ होने के बाद दे मे फियर दैट राइटिंग माई करेक्ट नेम और क्रीडेंशियल्स विल मेक मी सफर मोर, सो वॉट दे आर डूइंग इज दे आर हाइडिंग देयर आइडेंटिटी। बट अगर ऐसे कंप्लेन्स होंगी देन अगेन कोई फ़ायदा ही नहीं है, बिकॉज जिसके साथ हुआ है उस तक रीच आउट ही नहीं कर पाएंगे। हाँ, बट इतने नोटिस में आ जाएगा दैट दिस एरिया इज प्रोन टू सच एंड सच मैटर्स। जेन्युइन, नॉट ट्रिवियल और फ्रिवलस, झूठी नहीं होनी चाहिए, right? If it is frivolous or it is false case, then it is just misusing of the provisions and nothing else. Not related to property rights, contractual obligations, civil disputes से related नहीं होगी, बस जो भी violation हुआ है sexual abuse या वो such kinds of things उससे related है, service matter से related नहीं होगा, and not pending before any other commission. Not already decided, if something is already decided. Now if you remember, we did something called as res sub judice and res judicata in class 11th, right? So not already pending is what? Res sub judice, similar to it, not actually you can straight away say to it, but not already decided, that is res judicata. Because something which is already decided, उस बात पे बार बार if you are reiterating the same matter again and again, that is just a waste of time, keeping in mind that there is already a huge pendency of cases, right? Not outside the purview of commission. If it's outside the purview of commission, outside its ambit, it is not in the areas with which the commission is entitled to work, तो उसके बाहर तो वो काम ही नहीं कर सकता ना। देयर इज अ बाउंड्री विच इज प्रिस्क्राइब्ड, उस बाउंड्री के बाहर आप नहीं जा सकते। तो उस बाउंड्री के बाहर जाकर भी अगर आपने कुछ काम किया, दैट विल बी वॉइड अब इनिशियो हो जाएगा, वो नल एंड वॉइड। सो इसीलिए उस वट एवर द एंटाइटलमेंट्स और फंक्शंस ऑफ और पावर्स ऑफ द कमीशन इज, उसके अंदर में ही कंप्लेंट होनी चाहिए, देन ओनली इट विल बी एबल टू डील विद द मैटर कंसर्न्ड। थैंक यू सो मच।